The movie opens with a propaganda-style commercial for an energy company called Oxalison. It is set about 70 years in the future, at the end of the 21st century. Through a promotional video, we learn that a nuclear accident occurred in 2018, involving a meltdown of 3 power plants in the southern hemisphere. The site is now a radioactive waste compound called Gibson Desert North. After the disaster, the world struggled with an energy crisis as oil barons and extreme environmentalists drove energy costs too high. To solve this, Oxalison was formed, introducing a breakthrough technology called the trifission engine. This innovation converts nuclear waste into unlimited, usable energy, supplying power to 99% of the world. The company built trifission plants worldwide, claiming nuclear energy is now safe, clean, and sustainable. As the credits roll, we see the Gibson Desert North Nuclear Waste Repository, built over what they call the Red Zone, still highly irradiated and uninhabitable. The camera pans across the desolate facility, from its barren exterior to the complex machinery inside. We meet Chief Engineer Abby Dixon, who wakes up on Christmas morning to discover that communication with Gibson Desert North has been lost. With no one else available, she volunteers to take a tricopter to the site and fix the issue herself. Upon arrival, she finds the facility deserted and in poor condition. Suddenly, from behind, Robinson, the facility's caretaker, sneaks up on her with a golf club, demanding to know who she is and why she's there. Abby explains she's here to restore communication. Robinson informs her that Dr. Darius Zak, the chief scientist, is missing. He left to conduct surveys, and Robinson has no idea when he'll return. As Robinson shows her around, Abby notices alarms buzzing, lights flickering, and equipment breaking down. The place is clearly falling apart, but Robinson dismisses her concerns with a careless attitude. He mentions that he and Dr. Zak rarely interact, and he's unaware of what the scientist has been working on. However, he hints that Dr. Zak may be involved in something dangerous, possibly venturing deep underground, where the radioactive waste is stored. The audience learns about the plant's mechanics, how the cooling system must not fail, and how the trifission engine powers everything. Abby tries to report back to headquarters, but the communication system is still down. Only Abby and Robinson seem to be at the facility, but Robinson's strange behavior makes Abby uneasy. She suspects he's either on drugs or hiding something, especially when he collapses mysteriously and avoids answering questions about Dr. Zak's whereabouts. As Abby runs more diagnostics, she discovers rising radiation levels and multiple system failures. At first, she believes the extreme readings are due to a calibration issue, but as she adjusts the sensors, she makes a chilling discovery. Someone deliberately cut the power wires. There's a saboteur inside the facility. Through a porthole window, Abby realizes she is not alone. She sees a man staring at her through the window. Concerned, Abby wonders if it's Dr. Zak and believes he might need help. However, Robinson tells her that Dr. Zak had a psychological breakdown 4 days ago, left in a rage, and is unlikely to return. They peer out the window, but see no signs of life. Robinson questions Abby's sanity, suggesting she might be imagining things. He asks about her nightmares and how she's been sleeping. Abby is reluctant to share, but she has been having disturbing dreams about her dead grandmother and father. Running a vital signs scan, Abby discovers Dr. Zak is outside, lying unconscious in the desert. She quickly dons her anti-radiation suit, exits the building, and finds him next to his damaged buggy. Abby drags him back to the compound, but as she reaches the entrance, Robinson refuses to let them in. Abby threatens that they'll both die from radiation exposure if he doesn't open the door. Reluctantly, Robinson lets them in, claiming he was only following containment protocols to prevent radiation from spreading inside. Abby injects Dr. Zak with a radiation antidote, hoping to stabilize him. Robinson, however, warns her to keep Zak restrained, saying he might be dangerous when he wakes up. While Abby is telling Robinson about her nightmares, an alarm blares. One of the 2 cooling fans has stopped working. These fans are critical for preventing radiation buildup, and they were designed to last thousands of years. This shouldn't be happening. Suspicious, Abby accuses Robinson of sabotage, but he reminds her that he doesn't have access to the fan mechanism. That means someone else tampered with it. Realizing the danger, Abby sends an urgent repair request to Oxalison headquarters, claiming that the only explanation is deliberate sabotage. Meanwhile, Dr. Zak awakens from his coma, still dazed. When Robinson enters the room, Zak plays along, pretending to be weak. However, Abby senses he's hiding something about Robinson. Later, Abby sends Robinson to fetch a hygiene kit, giving her a moment alone with Zach. Once Robinson is gone, Zach finally reveals the truth. Robinson is an imposter. The real Robinson is missing, and the man they've been dealing with is someone else entirely. Zach warns Abby not to let on that she knows the truth until they can find a way to escape. Since the facility's communication system is down, Abby comes up with a plan. She can hotwire the antenna on the damaged buggy outside and send a distress signal requesting an emergency pickup. While passing by Robinson's room, Abby notices home videos of him with a wife and son. In the background, she spots a water tank labeled Barrow Creek. Something isn't right. Abby researches the town online and discovers that everyone there was suffering from radiation poisoning, likely caused by oxalicin's nearby repository. She reaches the wrecked dune buggy, activates the antenna, and calls for immediate rescue, informing headquarters that an intruder has infiltrated the facility, posing as Robinson Scott. She also reveals that Dr. Zach had escaped out of fear for his life. Now siding with Dr. Zach, Abby wakes him so they can wait outside for the tricopter rescue. However, as they try to leave, Robinson catches them and confronts Zach, demanding he tell Abby the truth about Gibson Desert North. Zach acts confused, denying any knowledge of what Robinson is talking about. Suddenly, he zaps Robinson with a laser cutter, locking Abby and Robinson inside the infirmary before making his escape. Abby tells Robinson that Dr. Zach exposed him as an imposter and that he killed the real Robinson. But Robinson denies it, claiming that Dr. Zach is the real enemy and has turned the compound into an explosive device. Abby doesn't know who to believe, but she rewires the door, setting them free to stop Zach's plan. Robinson explains that Dr. Zach is heading to Deep Burial, where the core of the nuclear waste is stored. Abby then reveals that she has access to that highly restricted area. As Robinson searches for Zach, Abby discovers the real Robinson's body inside his room, along with the imposter's family photos. Meanwhile, Robinson tracks Zach to the Deep Burial entrance, and the two engage in a brutal fight. Abby arrives and aims a gun at Robinson, telling him she knows the truth. However, he knocks the gun away, forcing them into hand-to-hand combat. Abby gains the upper hand, and Robinson collapses, coughing up blood. He pulls a bloody tooth from his mouth, and Abby realizes the truth. Robinson walked across the red zone from his town and is now dying from radiation poisoning. Accusing him, Abby watches as Robinson declares that no one will stop him from completing his mission. He quickly grabs Abby's hand, using her fingerprint to unlock Deep Burial, then disappears through the door. As Abby tends to her wounds, Zach reaches for the gun, but Abby grabs it first. She condemns Zach, who then admits that he always knew Gibson Desert was decaying and the red zone was expanding. He also reveals that oxalicin knew about the contamination but covered it up, arguing that the benefits of nuclear energy outweigh the deaths of a small town like Barrow Creek. Zach justifies the sacrifices, saying that a few hundred lives don't matter compared to global energy security. Disgusted, Abby tells him to stay silent and leaves him behind to find his own way out. Abby confronts Robinson inside the containment chamber, demanding to know the truth about his sabotage. Robinson admits everything. Everyone in his town got radiation poisoning at the same time, but he survived the longest. He says the world must learn the truth, but it will take a massive disaster to expose oxalicin's lies. The trifission engine doesn't actually work. Instead of reducing radioactive waste, it's spreading contamination. Abby agrees and begs Robinson not to jump into the core with the flare he's holding. She promises to expose the company using her digital evidence once they escape. But Robinson laughs, saying she'll never make it that far. Oxalicin has too much at stake and will shut her down. With one final act, he leaps into the nuclear core, triggering a massive chain reaction of explosions. Abby runs for her life, barely escaping the collapsing facility in her protective suit. She makes it far enough for the tricopter to land, but as she waves for help, it flies right past her, disappearing into the distance. Realizing she's doomed, Abby removes her helmet and suit, clutching her digital evidence. She breathes in the toxic air moments before Gibson Desert North erupts in a blinding white explosion, erasing everything in its path. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.